And so we told the promoter, like, hey man, I don't think we can play this venue. And they're like, yeah, you're gonna play. We're gonna play this show, under threat of, being under gunfire. We're about to hightail it to the border. They've realized what's going on.
Somebody figured it out.
And they're like, they're chasing after us. They jump in a car. They chase us in the car for 30 miles till we hit the border. And then we're just like, I love you, buddies. I mean, that was a venue that I didn't play, but that was one that sticks out.
For good reason.
Yeah, that's a great story.
Welcome back to the Drummers High. We're here with Rick Stojak, excellent teacher from the San Diego area, well-known and brilliant. And Gene Hoglan. If you don't know Gene Hoglan, quit now.
I back it.
Guys, thanks, and welcome to the Drummers High.
Thank you very much, Andy. It's our pleasure to be here. It's a total honor. Thank you for including us both. We're really excited to be here and talk some drums and have a good time with it. Totally.
Yeah, we're pumped up. Thanks for having us.
Drums and drum attitude.
Yeah, lots of that.
So the Drummers High, what I'm talking about with that is the emotion that comes with playing and the way that we get into it and everything, the energy that's moving and playing in a band and playing in a venue where suddenly the energy, you can feel that coming back, the band's coming together, it's coalescing into something, and then you're in a different zone.
Mm-hmm.
You're like a nirvana.
Yes.
Now, you guys have been there.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Give me some examples. Tell me how much fun that is.
Rick, give it a shot.
Well, it's kind of like flying when that happens. For me, it happened at a really young age. I was just 13, and I was just playing at a talent show at school with a little double drummer thing.
Wow.
And I was just tearing up a solo, just putting my heart and soul into it. And I felt like I was watching myself. It was just it was spiritual and deep. And I knew that's it. I'm going to be a drummer. It was instant. It felt so good.
So that was your, I'm doing this for the rest of my life moment.
That was it. Yeah. That was it. And it's never stopped. It's with me every day.
Yeah. Gene?
I will say one thing I do know about Rick. We're brothers-in-law, and Rick lives drums. He's constantly, everything I see about Rick's life revolves around drums, to a large degree. So I can relate in that regard. But I guess for me, the attitude and the drummer's high, that is something I've been, this is a great subject for me because I've always, mentioned to people that, a lot of people say, wow, you just look like you're in outer space or something when you're playing. You look like you're playing all the super intense stuff, but you make it look real easy and you're really relaxed and all that. And I'm like, that's because I'm in this Zen type state where it is all encompassing around me. Like there's so many times I'll play in front of, 100,000 people and I don't notice the audience. I'm doing my thing. I notice what I'm doing. I'm up there for me. And if you enjoy it and you're into it, that's awesome. But I'm doing it for me more than I am for anybody else, and really about the only people that I'm trying to, I guess, impress are the other guys that are on stage with me.
Right.
When those guys are like, yeah, that was a great show. It was killer. Everybody played good. That's the apex of having other people acknowledge what you did or acknowledging what the state that you're in. As long as the rest of the band is into it, then I'm cool with that. But yeah, I'm up there for me most of the time.
Well, yeah, like you're saying, when you're in that zone and the rest of the band is there, the audience is coming anyway.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, they're on your ride.
Absolutely. And that's one thing. I'm the conductor of that ride.
Right.
Being the drummer, that is our voice, I suppose. And there are many times if I'm up on stage with a band that maybe they don't have the most technical proficient playing, and it's hard to listen to them what they are playing. I have to turn them down in my ears and then tune them out I do that quite a bit, you know, because I am up there for me. I'm the conductor. I know the music.
Yeah.
I know the songs. I'm going to play the songs at the tempo I want to play them at the tempos that I think work. And so I'm really the conductor, you know. It's like, yeah, I need you as a guitarist just for some of your intros, but I've got the tempos together. I will drive the train for the entire show, and that's kind of the way that I look at it. And your conductor is off in this Zen space on his own. It's like, hey, everybody can come along for this ride, but I'm riding this myself and I'm driving the train. So it's a win-win, triple win for me on stage, you know.
But as you're in that Zen zone, as you say, and you're feeling it and you're making things go, not every show is exactly the same.
Yeah.
And isn't that energy coming to you from the audience? Or are you feeling it all? No, it's the way I'm feeling it tonight.
It's the way I'm feeling.
Wow,
I
okay.
tune out the audience so much because, you know, these days we have the molded in-ears.
Yeah.
So you're not hearing the audience at all. I never hear the audience, you know, and guys from the band have mentioned, did you hear, you know, when I said that one thing, the crowd just blew up. I was like, no,
Nope.
I didn't. You know, I'm in my own world. And I never hear the roar of the crowd after the songs. I don't, because those things are jabbed in my ears.
You don't feel the energy coming off?
I feel the energy in smaller club shows more than I do with. That's why I appreciate both. You know, like my next show in 2 or 3 days, that's going to be in front of 90 or 100,000 people, and the next night after that is going to be like a club show with 1,000 people or something like that. You know, traveling to the next festival.
Yeah.
And I will probably get more energy off the club show than I will with the big old audience, you know, because a lot of times at the clubs, they're there for you.
Right.
You know, they bought the ticket to come see the band. That's what but at a festival, you've got some of the fringe on the outside that are just, mildly paying attention. They're here for the other 7 bands that are on the festival. So that's where I think the energy is much more focused on the club shows. And I really like it. I'm happy to play in front of 300 people that are just going nuts and going crazy, sweaty club.
Dedicated.
That is where I will catch more energy than I will off this giant sea of faces that, you just don't get to pay that close attention to. You don't get to make that like one-to-one contact.
Sure.
And I am not the best at the one-to-one contact with the audience, because the guitarists are, they get to stand on the edge of the stage and make eye contact with everybody. Me, it's like if I'll be staring at somebody in the audience. I will look up for a while. And if they're looking at something else, then I had my moment with you and you weren't there, buddy. So
bye.
Yeah. So there you go,
And Rick?
But drumming, well, it's just so pure and natural and tribal, and it's just a great way to connect to yourself.
Yeah.
And I found that I can achieve that high just drumming to a song, And then the great thing is to try to get that while I'm drumming to a click, and get that feel and make that magic. And
you can pull that off with a click track?
I hope so.
Man, good for you.
I try. It's a goal. It's a goal. And
you can too?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. The click is the easiest, simplest, most fun little thing. It's like, we're drummers. We have pretty good meter, so we're going to lock in with that click decently. And that's when you get to really start flowing, because you don't have to have that click going on in your head.
Gotcha.
That thing's going on in your ear for you. And that's when you get to really open up, I find. So there you go.
And, some small club gigs that I've done when I was coming up, where the energy is just a little lacking, maybe there aren't a lot of people. What I've done, which has helped me, is I'll just see one person getting into it. And I'm like, man, I'm playing for you, man. And then, and then it gets infectious.
Yeah.
And then pretty soon, everybody starts.
So before a show, everybody's got their own little rituals, right? We're all a bit superstitious. What are the things that you have to do before a show?
Well, for me, I call them stupid stitions.
But they're there.
But they're there, yeah. But mine I've pared down pretty simply. My rituals are really, they involve a nap. I'm a serial napper.
Well, like you said, if you had a recumbent drum set, you'd
Yeah, I'd be stoked. You know, I can multitask like crazy in that regard. You know, and I joke a lot that I'm, you know, like the crew will ask me, "Hey, when did you wake up tonight?" And I'll be like, about song 4.
Yeah.
You know, because I will nap before the show, and that's usually what I'm doing. That's always a challenge when we have an opening act playing with us that I want to see, because most of the time I miss them. I come in to the venue when they're just saying thank you, good night, and so I miss the opening act a lot because I sleep through them, and that's just, you know, it's a great recharger. You know, I'm not a big drug taker or anything like that, and I don't like the Red Bulls or anything like that, but I'll drink the. You know, I'll utilize superfood in my playing, and that's, you know, a lot of the nutrition and stuff. You slam a superfood or an ultra greens or something like that, straight nutrition going into your body. That's really helpful for the energy. You know, play a high energy show. Yep. So, yeah, my rituals are, I'll warm up for it. My warm ups are band dependent. Like some bands I tour with, they don't need a lot of warm up. The set kind of warms you up. So I'm more into stretching. Yep. That's more important to me than spending, you know, 20 minutes on the pad. I don't even have a pad anymore. I don't use a pad. You know, I'll take my warm up sticks I tape 3 sticks together, and you know, I'll just bong on the air. You know, just air drum with those, and they just loosen up your chops. I mean, loosen up your stuff. But
he's got big hands.
yeah, and you know, a lot of the bands that I play with, they're not very chop oriented.
Sure.
You know, some bands I do, and those are the ones where I will, you know, take the pad out. But of late, and I wear the leg weights, and I'll wear the leg weights on stage, and you know, I'll play through the majority of the set with the leg weights, and then take them off for that really hauling song that's 8-10 songs into the set. Yep. Or else, you know, I'll take them off before the show, or I'll play the entire set with them. You know, like that's always, it's easy. It's not a challenge. You know, it might be for some, but I'm kind of used to it. 30 years of doing it, so.
Iron Man.
There you go. It pisses a lot of people off. You know, like, he's playing on hauling double bass and he's wearing leg weights. What a jerk. You know, so there you go.
I just need the challenge.
Yeah, well, kind of. Sometimes, you know, it's good to challenge yourself. And I utilize drums so much as an aerobic, you know, exercise. That is definitely a part of my health regimen. You know, over the past few years, I've lost 140 pounds. Like a lot of the super hauling double bass stuff I was doing back in the day, I was doing it at, like, you know, roughly around 400 pounds. And when I got up to 410 pounds, that's when it was time to just take the 180, go super health. And my wife and Rick's wife were also big helps in me flipping my whole, you know, just bad lifestyle around. And so, you know, we're all pretty healthy, and Rick and I could crab about how healthy we are, but the wives are really good at keeping us healthy.
They sure are.
Yeah, we want the donuts and the coffee and stuff. Man. But the wives are really good with, like, nope, we gotta keep it straight.
Yeah, buddies. No second portions at Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, maybe at Christmas. We're lucky. We're really lucky to have that support. But I have a new ritual here.
Coffee, so
yeah. This is my new ritual. This Drummer's High coffee, Sabian Drummer's High coffee.
It's not a thing.
Get a lot of requests.
Oh man.
I just think visualizing a successful show is part of my ritual. I just have to see it happen. Like, it's gonna go good. I convince myself it's gonna go good, and then I make it happen because I know it's there. Because if I think it's gonna go bad, I'll find a way to make it go bad subconsciously. Yeah. So I've tried to take that approach with all aspects of my life. Excellent. Especially drumming. No.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's energy you're projecting. If it's positive energy that's going out, hitting the drums, coming back, part of the whole ambiance of what's happening, it's going to be positive. Yeah. And if it's negative, it's not going to come back the right way.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
So now, you're talking about health, and you've become a vegan, haven't you?
No, not vegan, but I'm closer to that than I ever was. But yeah, I've definitely, you know, cut out all the majority of the bad things. You know, like, you know, there's no drinking and try to stay away from the red meat. But you know, I'll eat I love fish. I love salmon. You know, so
they do taste good.
Yeah, that's just it. You know, how could you be a vegan when animals are so tasty? You know, like, dang. Well, if I were a vegan, that would be because I hated plants and I just want to get rid of them. I'll eat them all just to get them off the planet. But no, I've definitely taken a larger, taken my own health in in my own hands, I suppose. Changed the lifestyle quite a bit, and I've said it before. We used to be rock and rolla. Now we're raw granola. Essentially, it's like back in the day, everybody was super partying, and now everybody, and I'm a big preacher of this to my peers and stuff like that, because we are, we're entering the age. A lot of the guys that I grew up with are all in our 50s now, and I've mentioned this before, is I fully, completely intend to be playing hardcore, hauling, double bass metal, brutal metal, deep into my 70s. So I'm preparing for that now, like getting back into the gym, and I can get away with this carriage at this age, doing what I do. Yep. I'm still slimmer than I was 30 years ago, but I figure, and now I feel 27, I feel super young. Yeah. And I figure I'll probably have to be a super cut 70-year-old guy to do what I'm doing now. So maybe when I'm super cut, ripped, another 30 pounds less, I got abs and just muscles and all that, maybe I'll feel like I'm 22.
Yeah, man, you'll have this long, healthy hair.
That's that positive projection thing, right? This is where we're seeing that.
Yeah, that's my entire life. Like Rick mentioned, the projecting and the visualization. And, I of course, we've all heard the term visualization. Yeah. I had no idea until just about a year or so ago that that's what I've done with my entire life for my entire life.
Right.
This is something being a professional drummer, this is something I set out to do when I was 11. Is kind of when I started going, I want to be a rock and roll drummer. I want to play in a band. I want to tour the world. I want to see the world. And I just want to make music for a living. And I was 11 through about 13 when I was forming those ideas. And I did my first tour, and I've been touring for 35 years now, and I'm 51. So I did my first tour at age 16. Wow. And that was with Slayer, of all people. And
now when you were doing Slayer, you started off as the tech, didn't you?
I started off as their light guy. I was their lighting guy. I was, a lot of people ask, you were Dave's drum tech. And I was like, no, I was never Dave's tech. I was his drum tutor, I guess, trying. He was just picking up double bass at the time. Okay. So I was, Dave's double bass kit was the very first double bass kit I ever played. And because I went over to the rehearsal studio where they were jamming, and I walked in and he had a double bass set up finally. I was like, dude, yeah, man, you got double bass. Where'd you get it? He's like, yeah, some time ago, but I'm not feeling it. I'm trying. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not getting it. I was like, let me sit down on it. And I just sat, and I'd played air drums so much, and that I knew how to. I just got behind it and had an aptitude for it. Yep. And he was tripping. He was like, dude, I've been to your house. I've played your kit. You've got a single bass kit. When did you get double bass? How long you been playing double bass? And I look at my watch. I'm like, literally like 5 minutes. Like literally, this is it. He's like, well, how are you doing what you're doing? Like, shit. And so I just started, whatever my experience is here. It's like, well, I'm doing this. I'm concentrating on my left foot. I'm making sure that's coming down. Same thing. I'm just giving him all these, what I'm doing. He's like, okay, well, let me try that. And he's like, hey, it's working. So that's how that started. So
you were his double bass Yoda?
Kind of, I guess.
He's a lot of people's double bass Yodas.
So that was, Slayer was, I used to do Dave's sound checks on that tour. Just so he could be out in the house and listen, because the drummers never have somebody playing your band's music in a similar way that you would, and get to hear what your band sounds like out in the front of house. Right. But
that's a good point.
Totally. I never got that with strap. I never got to see strapping on that. I never get to see Death Clog, even though we put on great shows. I never get to see it. So, I just thought, well, hey, you can hear what your drums sound like. You can hear what the band sounds like. Guitarists, they can always walk out in the audience. They got their wireless, and singers do the same thing. You can walk out the front of house. Drummers, we don't get to do that. So Dave, you go out in front of house and I'll, play Slayer songs with you, and, with the band. And so those are the first guys I ever jammed with.
Yeah.
You know, playing Slayer songs with Slayer on stage so Dave could watch them. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, that is pretty good. Oh, man.
I think he mastered double bass in 5 minutes.
Well, like you said, how long you been doing it? 5 minutes.
You got it.
You know, that comes from the air drumming, you know. Like
Sure.
I'm a huge proponent
Yeah.
of air drumming. Big time. I still tell people, like, guys roughly my age will come up and they'll say, man, you know, I want to get a drum kit. I want to try it. I don't have the time to practice or, you know, I got kids or I'll go into school, whatever. For whatever reason, there's something that's precluding them from getting a drum kit. And I'm like, that doesn't mean that you can't rehearse. You know, like if you just sit down with your favorite music and you teach yourself what the drummer is playing, you know, check out his feet, check out his hands, check out his fills. If you're able to get those into your brain and you can, you know, emulate what he's doing just on an air kit, you've just given yourself a lesson. You know, that's the way I feel. And I gave myself a lot of lessons. And I learned from the hands and feet of a lot of, you know, my legendary masters. So that's how I was able to just have an aptitude for playing when I first got on the kit, you know.
Did you do it in your car?
I would do it in my bed, you know, and like the whole reason.
I wouldn't say people should do it in your car because you got to still drive.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Well, I mean, you could utilize your car. You could, especially in the old days, the turn signals when they would do the
yes, they're a good meter.
yeah,
I agree.
those are great. Those, I tell people that all the time. Get do found meter, found click tracks, and especially those old ones that had the shuffle going. You know,
Yeah.
the old school. Those are great. You know, now they're making them all silent and quiet. It's like, oh man, no, put some volume on that thing. You know, it helps us drummers out. You know.
Maybe it could be an option on a car.
Yeah.
Can I have the
drummer's
click track, please?
Yeah. Can I get the cowbell or the woodblock, please? Yeah, totally.
Come with a shuffle signal.
Yeah, man.
I don't know about you, but I've lost drumsticks out of the sunroof of a car.
Oh, nice.
I don't recommend playing while you're driving.
I love. But it's like when my wife and I are traveling with Rick, and he's in the front seat. If Julia's driving, you know, he's got his sticks out. He's got sticks in his car. You know, sticks out right down there, and he's like jamming on stuff. He's got little rubber tips on him, all that. So,
Do you have your
So it's
favorite
fun.
car because it's got the right bass sound?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, when I look at a new car, I look at the steering wheel. Like, how does it sound?
yeah. Awesome.
Well, you also have to figure out is the dashboard set so that I can use it as a ride?
Exactly.
Or is it too flat? I can't get down there.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh man. So talking a little bit about the moment that passion took over. I mean, you were about 11, and how old were you when you heard your first group and thought, "Oh, I want to play drums"?
About 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had older brothers who just hit me to all the cool music of the time. So, you know, I grew up with Led Zeppelin and early Queen when they were really rocking out.
Right.
And The Who. And I was just really fortunate. I had a brother who got me started. He was a guitarist, and I worked with him in his band. And, it was just the coolest thing ever. And then I was good at it. I'm like, wow, I'm finally good at something at 13.
Is that when it really took off? And like, this is it.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. And I was gigging in New York by the time I was 16.
You were in New York City?
Yeah, I'm from
you
Connecticut.
grew up in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't your first gig at CBG?
Yeah.
That's
Come
awesome.
on.
How cool
At
is that?
16, yeah. Bunny Carlos was in the crowd.
Nice.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Kick ass.
And it was a great experience. But it was such a strange venue for me because I'm playing at this legendary club. So I'm expecting I'm going to walk into something nice and, you know, place with clean carpet. And I
It's
walk
New
in,
York.
This place is a dump, man. There's graffiti everywhere. There's cockroaches. But you know what? When you got up on that stage, it didn't matter. It's like, this is cool.
Oh yeah,
This
it had
is
that
raw.
vibe completely. The mojo was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you felt it. So that was a great start.
Where was your first that moment? Damn, I gotta play drums.
I think it probably happened in the air drumming phase.
Really?
I think
Wow.
so.
Boy, you can really project.
Yeah. Well,
Projecting,
you know, my air drum kit was huge. It was bigger than Neil Peart.
How many toms did it have?
Yeah, it had like 40. Wow. It was good. But because it's like this, okay, I'm pounding on my bed. I'm doing all the stuff that all the other drummers do. And it's like, well, I need to, extend this past the bed, So the first time I played on a kit with a jammer or whatever was me and my cousin. I was visiting him in El Paso, and he had his band, and we went down to his rehearsal space, a few hours early, and he was, playing his guitar, and I jumped on, and that was the first time I ever jammed with somebody, and it was the first time I ever played on a kit, and I was probably, maybe 11 or 12, probably 12 at the time, and my cousin was looking at me like, wait a minute, how, you don't have a drum kit? How are you able to do this? I was like, I've been doing this for 4 years already, this now that I've got sticks in my hand and I'm actually hitting things, it's the same thing, because I used to, practice air drums with sticks, and I still got those sticks, but, I've got those in my storage facility now.
The triples or?
No, just my very first pair of sticks that my parents bought for me, and I remember seeing a picture of Foghat and their drummer Roger Earl. He had these sticks that were black down here, but silver all the way to the edge. Like the last 3/4 were silver. And I don't know if he painted them like that or whatever. So I painted my sticks black, and I remember the one for the left. I put a little silver thing at the bottom. That's always my left stick, sort of thing. So I don't know why I did that, but just having that first time and having my cousin like tripping out, like, whoa, dude, I thought you were going to be a total hack, and he's like, you're pretty good. And I'm like, okay, well, this is something I'm good at, I'm okay at this, so I want to pursue this.
Drummers we're different people. When you come into a room and there's other drummers, you want to say hello, you hang out, you give the drummer a hug, and a lot of chat. And for the most part, that doesn't happen with other members of the band.
I see that.
I've been told now trumpet players will do it, but I'm a little skeptical.
Yeah, but there's no trumpet circles.
Yeah, that's true.
Can you imagine if there was?
Oh my!
But if you played the oboe, you'd be like really lonely.
There's only 4 or 5 of them in the world.
Yeah, man, you got all these trumpeters doing the trumpet. You got your oboe.
But one of the cool things about being in this drumming community is that we talk and share and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And you have, more than anybody I know of, shared your playing, your techniques, seriously, all the people that you've worked with, and just for example, you're talking about with Dave when you were talking about this is how you do double bass.
Sure.
Think that incredible the amount of people that you influence that way, but you have no problem sharing. And they don't have any problem sharing with you.
Yeah, sure.
Give me a couple of incidents where that kind of thing, that friendship, that sharing, really came out.
Well, God, let me. I thought about that because I never think that I share all that much, but I do remember seeing Dom Famularo in a clinic back in 1993. And he told the audience, he's like, all you drummers out there, and I know a lot of you guys are out there, you're putting out your records and you're doing your things, and a lot of you drummers are going to be influential on people, but in your learning phase, make sure you steal. Steal as much, and it's well known, Dom. That's Dom. That's his thing. You steal, but be prepared to steal from, be stolen from.
Right.
And so it's like, with that in mind, it's we are drummers, and if I can do something, I've always been a proponent of, if I can do this, you can do this. That's that simple. I'm not a special superhuman or anything. I've got a good focus on how to get things done. But if I can do it, you can do it, and let me show you what I did for me, and maybe you can apply the same things to you, or you might augment it and get your own sort of path to where you want to be with your skills. But yeah, we do have a camaraderie, with drummers, and you won't see the guitarists coming in and doing the big hugs and sitting down and like, dude, just, but drummers, you always see other drummers behind the kit, when we're playing these big festivals and stuff, and the drummers are always like super cool, and we want to, I do get asked, like, why do you use leg weights, or, hey, that lick that you play there, what in the hell were you playing? And I steal a lot, and I give full credit to those I've stolen from, and so if others do for me, then fantastic.
That's cool. Yeah,
man, it is the little,
The circle of drumming,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
which you don't get with oboes.
No,
No.
man. Yeah, nor are them trumpets. But yeah, it's if there's something that helps me out, of course I'm gonna share that with other people. You know, help me. This might help you. You know, and you know, even when it comes to like say some of the health oriented things that I'm involved in now. You know, like my friend Paul Bostaff from Slayer. He came to me one day and we were on tour with him a couple years back and he was like, man, I've been drinking Red Bulls. And I know that's bad for me and I'm starting to really feel it. And I was like, hey, try some of the superfood that I've been using, you know, and I turned him onto that and he loved it. And he became, you know, instantly dropped the Red Bull, went on to the superfood sort of action. And, you know, it's like, hey, I'm hopefully not only helping with your skills, but I'm trying to help you extend your life, your career, you know, be healthier. So, you know, that's always if you could help somebody else out who's struggling, by all means do it, you know.
Very positive.
Yeah, it's just very affirming to be cooperative rather than competitive, and drummers I think can really relate to that. Yep. It's definitely a high to play the instrument and get an audience going, but there's a high in when someone comes up to you and says, man, you were an influence, or you taught me that, and I use that every day.
Yeah.
So as you know, I focus on being an educator and teacher, but I get that feedback all the time, and it's so rewarding. So just helping one another out. Hey, man, the world's a crazy place. So we got to help each other out and all be brothers. And when you meet another drummer, that's like an instant brotherhood and sisterhood. It's just instant. It's like growing up, like you're from the same neighborhood as me.
Exactly.
It feels just like that. Yeah. So I was so stoked when my wife said, yeah, her sister was dating Gene Hoglan. I'm like, whoa. I get to hang out with a drummer all the time now.
And he can speak the same language.
Yeah,
exactly. Drums. I always figured one of the things that made us happy to hang out and share and not worry is that we're all somewhat competitive. We all want to do well, but we're not concerned about other people taking our chops.
Sure.
And one of the reasons is because my tendons are different from yours. My legs are a different size. The way I play is going to be different. So even if I played exactly what you're playing, it's going to be different.
Fair enough.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
now it's a different interpretation of what you were doing. So now you get to see it and say, whoa, that's different. I didn't think of it that way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Nobody ever covers your stuff just like you do, but they do their best.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess I've got so many like technique-filled records and chop-filled stuffs that I've done. It's like, feel free to steal it, you know, like the 2 rides, you know, I put 2 rides up just because I personally had never seen anybody using 2 rides before. So it's like, you know, I got 2 hands, might as well use them, you know, like go
What a
that
philosophy.
Yeah, right from Viv Savage from Spinal Tap. That's he says that in Spinal Tap. Oh yeah, I got 2 hands. You know, the keyboard guy. And so that's been my flaw. I got 2 hands. I got 2 feet. You know, lots of double bass and you know, do that sort of thing. And so a lot of drummers have come up over the years. It's like, hey, you're the first guy I saw do, you know, the 2 ride thing. So I try it now. It's like, go do it. You know, by all means. If it works, right? That's why you do it. You know.
So that sharing and that wanting to experiment, it's got to inform other parts of your life as well. So being a drummer and having that camaraderie and that curiosity and the energy that comes from it, how does it inform other parts of what you do?
Well, I think it just motivates us to be focused. Because drumming is a big, we have to focus on what we're doing, and we have to let that emotion come out. And so I think drumming is just helps us to evolve in every way as a person. And just I just stick mainly with focus.
It's like focusing like your energy. So
Yeah.
if you have hyper energy, you can put it in one space, and everything else outside is calm.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can. It's if you do have that focus, and that's one thing that my schedule is what it is. It's usually pretty busy. So when I get any kind of downtime, I will take full advantage of it and try not to be the drummer 24/7. You know, because there's a lot of other things that you have to take care of. You know, adulting. You know, happens.
Adulting.
You know,
Good line.
I gotta get involved in that now. So, and I'm okay with that. And especially since like over the past 30 years, I guess I've played more guitar than drums.
Really?
As a guitarist. Yeah, I write a lot, and I'm currently writing for one of my my very, very first band called Dark Angel. We've done the reunion thing, and now we're working on a new record. And so that takes a lot of the focus, and that's one thing that as a I would always suggest to all musicians, try to learn another instrument.
Yeah.
That's very helpful. And the reason I started learning guitar was when I was a teenager, it just allowed me to speak, communicate with, instead of like trying to tell the guitarist, no, play out riff like dun 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 dun. You don't say that. Just here, let me take the guitar. I'll show you what I'm talking about. And they're like, okay, I get that. And so that's very helpful. Like learn another instrument so you can communicate really well. And I've just taken the guitar to the, now I'm a chief writer for Dark Angel and all that sort of stuff. And that's one thing I've always done. I've always played guitar since, I've only been playing guitar 2 years less than I've been playing drums.
Really?
Just because I just picking it up, and I taught myself drums.
Yep.
I taught myself guitar. And, now that I live with a guitarist, like I hear theory all the time. My wife knows how to put me to sleep. She's literally, like, if I'm like tossing and turning, she'll start speaking theory to me. She knows it. She knows it'll put you right out, buddy.
He can't sleep. Let me talk theory to him.
Absolutely. In 5 minutes, I'm out, man. It works all the time. Totally.
Once upon a time, there were the circle of fifths.
Yeah, God, totally.
Oh man! Well, like I said, when I'm hanging around professionals and they say, "Do you play?" I say, "No," because I don't want to hear about technique.
Sure, man.
No,
God, I tell you.
But interesting, because now you decided that you wanted to learn how to play so that you could communicate a little bit more, and you had that curiosity and you acted on it.
Yes.
Yeah. I consider that a part of a drummer's lifestyle of finding something that you want to do and just saying, I'm going to make it happen. And
Absolutely.
do it.
Yeah. And that's like we talked about the visualization earlier, and you don't even know that that's what you're doing. But if you could see something and you see the reality of it unfolding, that I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be playing gigs. If you haven't played a gig yet, or I'm going to be joining a band if you haven't joined a band yet. And if you see that happening for yourself, and then it starts occurring, there you go. And when it comes to guitaring, drummers, we have a completely different approach to guitar than guitarists do. Like I could play a whole lot of riffs that guitarists are just like, what in the hell is that? How in the world do you play that? And they're like, oh, that must be because you're a drummer, And these days, especially with the newer style of gent that's out, which is like Meshuggah.
Oh yeah.
They're kind of the fathers of what that style has become to be called, gent. Bands like that, I can always tell when the drummer writes the music, and I can hear one band on Sirius XM, the metal channel, and I can hear one song and go, that's totally, the drummer wrote this song. It's easy to figure that out now. So that's pretty good, because we do have a crazy rhythmic approach to guitar. So that helps.
You like those songs better, don't you?
I like the ones I write.
Better.
And
Right?
most guitarists are just like, fuck, you play this. That's why I have to play guitar on a lot of my Dark Angel albums, because my guitarists are like,
even on the recordings?
oh yeah, I play a lot of guitar on them. Just like, because we're not going to play that, and we're probably never going to play that live. So you track it.
Oh.
So,
Where's,
You know, I
where's
noticed
that
Gene plays.
positive attitude?
Yeah, man. Dude.
I've noticed Gene plays a lot of air guitar too.
Oh yeah.
You do
right
it?
there. Yeah.
Are you actually playing notes when you're doing it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's a big difference.
You know, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm a big proponent. Like, I don't need a guitar to write or this, you know, because I know I'm playing a 3, a 5, and a 6 right here. You know, fret that kind of thing. You
Well,
know,
you're
I know what I'm
creating
doing.
muscle memory.
Absolutely, and it, you know, I mean, it's a guitar. You know, if you've played it enough, you know the notes in your head. You know that what you're going to be doing here. You know, that's 1, 0, 1, 3, 4. You know.
Did you know
E,
he was a
F,
genius?
G,
Oh
G
yeah,
sharp.
we call you genius.
Yeah.
G,
Do we
yes.
call him genius? Oh man, that's great.
That's fun.
Because you know what you're reminding me of? Mozart.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he didn't play with it. He composed in his head. He could see the whole thing and it was done.
Yeah.
And it generally the same idea, what you're talking about.
Sure, you know, it's not really like a synesthesia or anything like that, but it's like you're familiar enough with both instruments, just like, you know, if I'm going to air drum something, boom, 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 you know that's what that's going to sound like, so you can figure that out. With the guitar, it's kind of the same thing for me too.
Dang, that's awesome. Man. Okay, so the next question, I know I'm probably going to get 2 different answers. But the drum set, as a piece of, it's not just a tool. You're playing it. You're putting energy into it. It has energy that it's sending back to you.
That's right.
And I know you're feeling that.
Yeah.
Are you feeling the same thing?
Well, it you know, I did see the question, you know, are they organic, animate objects or inanimate objects?
But still energy-filled animated objects.
You know, all things carry their energy, and it's how it gets displaced. And for me, I kind of feel like the drums are rather inanimate, but they are. I'm the one that gives them the life, you know. And each one of us, like all 3 of us, could sit behind the same drum kit, and that thing, it's wood, plastic, metal, but each one of us are going to put the life into that and bring the life out of it in 3 separate ways.
Yep.
And you know, that's something that's magical. So it is a very amorphous little body that can be brought to life in the way Rick would bring it to life, in the way you would bring it to life, in the way I would. So it's there saying, yeah, hit me, beat me, you know, make me come to life, make me make sound for you. You know, all 3 of us would have different tones coming off that same kit. So that's where it perhaps that is a living thing that is, you know, willing to, that's its job in life. You know, I mean, obviously wood, that's a natural substance. There is going to be energy coming off that. There's energies off those trees that made this. So yeah, that is a good concept that I guess it is organic and animate. I just haven't really viewed them that way until, you know, just this moment right now. So I'm having an epiphany.
See, I see it as watching people make cymbals. I can see the energy that they put into them. And each person makes a cymbal differently. And so that's how I sort of suspect, and I've been to drum factories, I've seen that.
Sure.
And the energy that's being put into that somehow has to be there. So I see them as more animated, and I think you might as well.
Yeah,
Rick was talking
absolutely.
about
Like
that
a
on the line.
hand-hammered cymbal. Somebody put their heart and soul, and that's their craft in it.
Yeah.
And their energy, I know it's a little cosmic sounding, but their energy is in that cymbal. And so you can be part of it. Like for me, my drums and I, we're symbiotic. We're all one. And I try to just like relate to the drums. And you know, it's just like food, you know? If you go to a restaurant and the chef loved the food, loved preparing it and put the love, just like a home-cooked meal from mom or your wife, you know, you feel the love.
Yeah.
And so I think it's the same thing with the instruments. And that's what I love about Sabian.
Ah, well, thank you.
Hand hammering is amazing. It's just so cool going at NAMM, seeing at the booth the hand hammer.
Yeah.
You know, that's
All us
magic.
drummers joke, like when you're walking by, that guy has better meter than any click track. That thing is always solid and pounding,
You know, it's interesting. I'll walk through the factory and I'll hear them all. They'll go digga-digga, digga-digga,
Yeah.
digga-digga, 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 and they just keep going.
Never wavers.
No, until it's like, okay, then they look at it and they move it, and then now it's and it's amazing.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
That's it. Wow. Yeah.
Oh man! All right, so now we're gonna hop into the 5 final questions.
Okie doke.
Okay? I'm lifting my leg. I got to tell them so
Whoa.
that they can do that. All right. So, starting with you, Rick.
Okay.
Top 3 heroes, not drummers.
Well, my dad. He's
Okay.
going to be 95 next month. He's a World War II veteran, fought in the South Pacific. He taught me responsibility and balance in life, and my mom equally, and she's 93. They still live on their own. So,
Wow.
you know, I'm just really, really blessed with that. Yeah. And then, you know, maybe like Tony Robbins.
Really?
Just the philosophies,
Yeah.
And
Positive
the life,
energy
the
fellow.
positive energy,
Yep.
and then of course my wife Julia,
Well,
of course.
she might be watching.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Actually, they're jamming right now.
Well, right now,
our
but-
wives are jamming right now,
Yeah.
doing a little practice. But
Gene, top 3?
Well, you know, I share it with Rick. You know, my dad was one of them. But, you know, I would say my wife, Laura, she has to be my number one hero. Well, she is my number one hero because without her, I wouldn't be alive now, you know, because when she and I got together, you know, I weighed 400 pounds, you know, she didn't care. But as soon as, you know, my doctor had told me, hey, Gene, you got your diabetes is raging right now. And if you don't make a change soon, by the next time you see us, and this was 10 years ago, by the next time we see you, we're going to have you start jabbing. And my wife took my life over right then and there and said, F that, none of that's going to happen. I'm going to put you on a plan. You're going to follow this plan. And in 3 to 6 months, you're not going to have diabetes anymore. And you're going to also lose a bunch of weight as well.
Yeah.
And so sure enough, I'm diabetes free now. And that's,
Good.
you know, and my wife has taught me a lot of positivity that I did not have before, and I'm very fortunate. I'm able to turn that around and express that outwards as well. So that's pretty cool. And my dad, total hero for me. You know, he just passed away last year, and he was awesome. You know, Dad was great. He was killer. And any of my, you know, I mean, Stevie Wonder has always been huge, but he's a drummer. And the thing I love
That's
most
okay.
about
He's not mostly known for it. They're okay.
Okay. Well, there you go. I mean, and normally I speak about Stevie's drumming and what his drumming, how his drumming has impacted me. But this time I would just mention him as just a guiding light of sweetness and positivity and you know, love. That's okay. You know, he puts that out.
Absolutely.
He is from Mars, but his Martian self, I really appreciate, you know, so I really dig that.
Oh, man. Okay. If you couldn't be a drummer, what would be your second choice?
maybe a politician trying to do something about the environment, climate control.
That's a big job.
Yeah, we need more people to do that.
You're
now.
right.
A fun thing to do, though, would be an actor. I think that'd be a blast.
Then you could pretend to be a politician who's doing something about. Yeah,
Exactly.
no.
Maybe actor can segue to politician. It's been done.
Not
Yeah,
very
why
well.
not?
Yeah. But to make a difference,
Yeah.
that's really what it is. Anything that's going to make a difference and make the world better.
Very cool.
Sounds like the Miss America pageant. Huh?
And world peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
World peace. It's
Gene?
about.
You know, hey, maybe a guitarist.
I
from that
figured
group.
you were going to say
Yeah.
that. Something told me.
Yeah.
However, you know, I do think like my first love was, you know, writing and
Yeah.
the English language. And chances are, you know, I love heavy metal so much. You know, it's not my only style of music, but it's my favorite. And, you know, I'm pretty well-rounded. I'm a really, I am a good rock and roll trivia buff. I know the rock and roll trivia for, you know, back to the 50s. So I probably end up being like, say, maybe a musical historian of some sort, you know, writing about the stuff I like and
Genius again.
all the stuff that is good music, you know. So I go back for, you know, what do we know? I go back 70 years to my favorite styles of music, you know.
So previous Buddy Holly, back to the earlier stages, Chuck Berry.
Earlier, you know, a lot of the doo-wop stuff, you know.
Okay,
I'm a big doo-wop fan, and you know, stuff like the Drifters and the Coasters, and you know, if it's on the 50s channel, I love it, and I'm all about the oldies, the golden oldies. I love all that. I love old soul music, you know, a lot of the old, you know, Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Al Green, you know, you name it, the Temptations, Four Tops, huge Four Tops fan. So, you know, and all musics, you know, all music is great. There's very few genres that I absolutely can't stand. I'll try to find something neat in every genre, even though maybe I don't like, you know, a certain style of genre. I'll try to find something within it that is exciting. So.
Well, yeah, I think I understand. If you're listening to music and it's played with passion and a little bit of risk, you can find good in any kind.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it may not be overall that you like it, but there's something in there that somebody took a risk and tried something different. Yeah, I get that.
You know, and about the only music I can't get behind is the really plastic that it sounds like there's no heart, no soul. There's only the dollar sign behind this. And I happen to find like a lot of today's, you know, the upper echelon of the pop music world, that leaves me extremely flat. I don't find a lot of soul. You know, there was soul in music in the 70s, even though, you know, their top 10s were full of a bunch of great songs. And, you know, obviously the image has become more prevalent these days. And the cookie cutterness of music is, you know, once one act gets big, they try to sign the 10 acts that sound and look just like that act, or individual pop artist or whatever. That's not quite my scene, but I'll do my best to try to find something with somebody from that scene to be into it. So,
well, actually, I think you used the right adjective. Is that it's not a band, it's an act.
Sure.
And that, I think, changes everything because the dynamic is gone. Yeah, or at least the dynamic that we appreciate is gone.
Sure.
Strangest venue in which you've ever played, and what made it that way?
Well, that was CBGB.
Okay.
We talked about earlier. But you can have great experiences no matter what the venue is. Yeah. And then a lot of my tours in Europe playing psychobilly music, just the audiences and the venues are just the best.
Awesome.
Really, really high energy, fast-paced music with upright bass, and you can integrate lots of different styles and just having a chance to tour in Europe, which I've done a few times, is just been the best.
Psychobilly.
So, yeah.
I've not been exposed.
Well, I'll hip you to some of the
Please
music.
do.
Yeah. It's sort of like a revved up rockabilly, but with sort of like a metal edge bass. And what attracted me is I could swing to it, but really, really fast. So it's just rooted in all types of music from the past.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah. And so it's you know, and of course blending different styles is always just the best. It's what makes us more authentic.
I'm looking forward to learning about that.
All right.
Gene?
Well, I can recall a venue in Bilbao, Spain, and this was in 1993, I'd imagine. And I was in the band Death at the time, and we pulled up to this like just absolutely burned out church, and it's like, are we sure we got the address right? Like, yeah, there's the address right there. So we went in and we checked out this venue real quick, and it was like a disaster area inside it. Yeah, there were no seats or anything, and the stage was just this falling apart mess. The backstage was just a bunch of, you know, 2x4s or 4x4s or whatever, just placed up there, and they want us to go up there, and there was no running water in the place. There was a porta potty in the corner, and so we were like, man, you know, we can roll with things a lot, but this is you know, that's our backstage. That's dangerous, you know. It's like big giant gaps in the, you know, you're having to walk the plank to, you know, it was obvious somebody's gonna fall through and die on this, and you know, no toilets, no nothing. And so we told the promoter, like, hey man, I don't think we can play this venue. And they're like, yeah, you're going to play. You're going to play this venue because we are going to, we're going to have 4 high-powered rifles trained on each, on each member. Wow. Yeah, they said, you're going to play this show, under threat of, being under gunfire. Yeah, you're going to play it. And we're like, okay, tell you what. Okay, we get it. You're going to hardball us. You're going to strong arm us for the show. We get it. Tell you what, we're just going to jump in our bus and we're going to head over to our hotel and we're going to go hang out at the hotel and check in there. And then we're going to come back and set up our gear, all right? And they're like, okay, yeah, sure. And, as we're jumping on the bus and we're about to hightail it to the border, they've realized what's going on.
Somebody figured it out.
And they're like, they're chasing after us. They jump in a car. They chase us in the car for 30 miles till we hit the border. And then we're just like, yeah, I love you, buddies. But, yeah, they were like, yeah, you're going to play it. Yeah, we're going to make sure you play it because we're going to train high-powered shotguns on you. It's like, oh, F this, So, I mean, that was a venue that I didn't play, but that was one that sticks out.
For good reason.
Yeah, that's a great story. God.
It reminds me of that scene in the Blues Brothers where I sit in the car and write the check while the engine's running.
Yeah. That's great.
Oh, man. Wow. Oh, so the lead singer drive the Winnebago.
Yeah, that's right.
Something you would never do again. I think you might have already just answered that.
I would not get involved with an original music project without a band agreement. What's going to happen if the band breaks up? Yep. Who gets to use the name? How is that all going to work out? Who's going to own the music? I would definitely, if you're just dabbling with a project, sure, that's cool. But if you're going to really invest your life in it, I'd recommend, or for me, I would definitely recommend getting an agreement together so you've got all this stuff covered.
Yeah, that's smart. A band prenuptial kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, brilliant.
Exactly. Brilliant. Yeah, I've seen it happen time and time and again, and I've experienced it too. So
bummer.
We all have, and I know that can be a buzzkill to a band that's trying to be enthusiastic, but I think it's necessary.
It's reality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gene?
Well, it's actually something similar. I would never sign a contract without reading it myself now, because back in the days, you would turn them over. You'd get the entertainment lawyer, and they wouldn't care. Like
really?
you'd
your
sign,
own lawyer.
It's not really like yours. It's just the guy that has been suggested to you, and they don't know exactly what you're looking for. So. Right. But that's why I've learned how to read all contracts. What I always tell young musicians, it's like, learn how to read a contract, learn how to keep that knife from entering your back. Because a lot of these contracts, that's all they are just knives pointed at your back. So, I've learned how to read the legalese, and it's not that challenging. It's never that tough. But I wouldn't go into something where I look at the contract. I've got management and stuff like that, and they would, I'd have them turn the contract over to me, and I'll go over it too. I'll do that just because I know my situation best, and I understand legalese, and I will, make sure that I get the best offer for myself. And one of the other things is I wouldn't play. I've done it one time in my career. I wouldn't play for a band whose music I don't like, and I can't appreciate their music. Some years ago, I played with a band. I didn't necessarily like their music, and I didn't respect them as musicians or people or anything. But a friend of mine was playing for the band, and he asked if I would help them out and do this gig, and I wanted to help my friend out. So out of my love and loyalty for my friend, I took the gig, even though every red flag and alarm was going off, like, don't do this, you've never done this, don't start with this project. Sure enough, I did, and it was everything I expected it to be, and less. So, that's what I wouldn't do anymore. I've got to have something that I either appreciate the music or I appreciate the people. It's like I've done lots of projects or some kind of bands where I didn't like the music much, but I love the people,
Yeah.
you know? And it's like, yeah, you guys are all good people and you get your music. You make me understand your approach by being your friend. And I see where you're going with your music. Might not be my style or anything or my cup of tea, but I dig you and I want to help you out, so I'll do that. I've done that plenty, but if it's a band where you don't like the people and you don't like the music and there's nothing like that fills your heart about this, don't do it.
Good point. Okay, and if you could learn it today, blue pill, red pill, you take the blue pill. Which musical genre, rhythmic style would you learn and love to play that you can't today?
Something that we don't know.
Or you want to know better. You want to be able to do much better. Yeah.
Just straight up rock. You know, just straight up rock, because rock is rooted in everything. And so to play rock, you really need the background of everything else, right? If you want that rock to swing, you need to study jazz like Bonham did, you know, and know a little bit about funk. So I'm just going to go with straight up.
So a deeper understanding of what you're doing.
Deeper understanding of rock, classic rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all the, everything.
All the
like
background to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gene?
Well, for me, it's, you know, and I'm always all about the funky shuffle.
Yeah.
Like, give me more shuffle. You know,
Yeah.
F the cowbell, give me the shuffle. I want the shuffle. So
Yeah.
I that's my favorite beats. Or, you know, even like a Jamaican dance hall reggae beat. I love that beat, and I've thrown those into a lot of my metal stuff, and that's where I like to, you know, draw an influence from just not the obvious place.
Sure.
So, you know, I really like that Jamaican, you know, dance hall beat. So, and that mixed with some shuffle, I'm good with, you know. Try to bring some swing to brutal metal. You can do it. You know, it just doesn't have to be all about chops and technique. You can have some taste involved. So anything that where I don't know that style well enough, but I can jump into it and try to pull something out that I can put directly into my style, I'm all about.
Awesome. That's great, man. I love it when drummers, musicians take that risk, learn more, and bring in the surprise every once in a while.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not all about staccato notes. It's about feel too.
Absolutely.
Man, awesome. Guys, I had a great time.
Cool, Andy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome. It was a blast, Andy.
You bet,
Thank you
pleasure.
so much.
And Gene?
Pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
really
for having
enjoyed
us
it.
here. That's awesome.
Thanks for coming to Drummers High.